right, so let's start. So, let's talk about the 4 Ps. And what's the other name for the 4 Ps? The what?
Marketing.
Close. You have the first part of it right. Marketing mix, yes. Marketing mix, that's perfect. So it's the marketing mix because
It's a mix of marketing.
yeah, it really applies to everything we're talking about in marketing. If you cover the basic fundamentals of the 4 Ps, you can get through the entire marketing plan, the marketing strategy. All right, so imagine the 4 Ps. I think I mentioned to this already. Imagine the 4 Ps like dials, right? So you have these dials, and you could adjust the dial left or right to change what happens, to change the output. So it's like this big water tank that pushes out water, and you have different dials to change the output. Okay, the way you change the dial is how you change the output. So what are the 4 Ps? What's the first P in the 4 Ps?
Product.
Product, right? You have to start with product first. Okay, perfect. Product. And we'll cover each one of these in the second here. So, what is product? Product is what? What's the definition of a product? Something you sell, okay? It could be a service too. So when we say product in marketing, we also mean a service. So it could be product or service. Now, there are different ways that you market a service slightly, and there are different ways that you market a product, okay? But the idea is that it's something that you get an exchange of money for, or exchange of something. So if I have a product and you're a consumer, you want the product, we exchange that, you give me dollars, hopefully, right? And I give you the product. That's basically the idea there. So what's important when you have a product? What's an important thing to keep in mind when you have a product? Give me one thing that you think is important with product.
Production.
Yeah, production. You can't have a product without production. Definitely, that's important. Whether you make it by hand or whether you make it through a major factory, you have to have production. If you have a service, what's production in service?
Quality.
Yeah, it could be quality, but it's the delivery of the service, right? So if you're a dry cleaner and you're delivering your dry cleaning to somebody, the service is the cleaning of the clothes. Makes sense? So that's sort of the service. And you do have to have quality, and that is part of production too. Now, when you have a product, what I like to say is that you have to be unique. That's important. You have to be unique. You have to be different, right? Who in here buys something? Spends money on anything? Anybody raise your hand? Yeah, everybody does, right? Okay, so who in here would want to buy something every day that's the same from a different company? Would you buy the same product from a different company over and over again? Probably not. You want something different. You want to spend your money on something unique and something different, right? So that's what we call the unique selling proposition. The USP is a unique selling proposition. That's what makes you different. In our digital example, we call it the UVP, unique value proposition, right? Unique value proposition, USP, unique selling proposition. It's the same thing. It's what makes you special. It's what makes you different. That's the key. You have to be different in the product. And then when we think about the product, we talk about positioning. How do you position your product? So what do you think positioning is? Anybody have an idea?
I think positioning is the way that how you put your product in the market, or in the target who you want to sell the
That's
product.
very good. That's exactly right. So positioning is not a physical place. Positioning is how you present your product in the consumer's mind.
Or in the target.
To the target market, or maybe not even the target, but it's just the perception of what your product is in the consumer's mind. For example, let's talk about BMW for a moment, right? BMW has a 3 Series, okay? And when I say BMW, what do you think about in your mind? What type of product? It's a car, but what type of car?
A luxury.
It's a luxury car, exactly right. So positioning in your mind, you know BMW, whether it's a 3, 5, or 7, is a luxury vehicle. Now, if I say Hyundai, that's still a car, but what's their positioning?
Marketable.
Yeah, more economic, right? So it's more affordable, more economic. And that's the position they have to be. That's the clarity you have to have when it comes to product. Because if a consumer is not clear on what you do or what you're supposed to be, they won't buy into your story. They won't purchase you. So you have to be clear. Let's talk about airlines for a second when you talk about product and positioning. Who flies Spirit Air? Okay, and that's okay. Spirit Air is good, right? But what is their positioning in the market?
Cheap.
Inexpensive, cheap, right? And by the way, in marketing, we try not to use the word cheap too much, right? Because cheap means what?
Cheap.
Yeah, cheap means cheap, right? So in marketing, if you're a marketer, you say, you know, inexpensive or low quality, that type of thing. You try to stay away from the word cheap. You don't want to make an advertisement that says, hey, we're the cheap product that you can buy, right? Because if you see that in your mind, are you going to buy it? Probably not. And they don't advertise that way. They advertise as an affordable, low-cost economic airlines, right?
Spend what you need.
Yeah, exactly right. So, all right, so we know what their positioning is. It's clear. You go to that airline, you know what you're going to get. If you expect anything more, then you're not buying what you deserve, right? So that's the concept there, right? So you have to think about, when you talk about product, let's talk about positioning, because that's important in how you talk about the product. Positioning and USP, the unique selling proposition. And it doesn't matter if you're a product or a service, you have to have that. Okay, give me another P.
Place.
Place, perfect. So let's talk about place for a second. Let's define place. What is place?
Wait.
Retail.
Retail.
The retail, yeah? What do you think, Susan? What's place?
It's where you sell.
Where you sell? Daniel, what are you thinking?
A place, to me, it's all the processes of how you want to distribute your product.
Right,
And
distribute had the product. So that's, you guys are all correct, that's exactly right. It's the channel that you're selling the product in, okay? So, you know, like Chris said, it could be the retailer, it could be the distributor, it could be how you get the product into market. So it's the channel, how you choose to get the product into market. Okay, that's the distribution channel. So let's talk about that for a second. If you're the manufacturer up here, right, and you're the consumer down here, give me one way. There's basically 4 ways to get the product to market. So give me one way to get the product to market.
Well,
Go ahead.
Manufacturer, straight to consumer.
Manufacture straight to consumer, right? Okay, so that's one, right? How do you do that? That's B2C, that's online, that's the internet, that's how you get it. Okay, what's the second way?
manufactured through authorized distributor.
Okay, good. I'm going to put that over here for a second. Distributor over here, and then the distributor sends it to who?
To the retailer.
To a retailer, exactly right.
And the retailer store direct to the consumer.
Exactly right. To the retailer, and the retailer to the consumer. So that makes the retail the second way, right? Because the manufacturer could sell it directly to the retailer.
And sometimes are distributors that do not respect that and goes directly to the consumer.
That's right. That's a problem. That becomes a gray market, and you have to control that as a manufacturer.
Yes.
And there's a fourth way. A fourth way. You had a question? Yes.
The master.
Exactly right. The master distributor, right? We covered some of this already. So the master distributor is here, right? And then the manufacturer will send it to the master distributor. The master distributor sends it to the local distributor. That goes to retail, and that goes to the consumer. So that's the place. That's how you get the product into the marketplace. Now, let's keep this in mind when we talk about pricing, because how you get the product to market is one of the things that affects the price. Okay, we'll get the price here in a second. All right, so again, let's look at this, the 4 Ps as dials. Okay, so we have dials here that we can move, and this one is product, this one is place. Okay, let's talk about the third dial. The third P would be what?
Promotion.
Promotion, perfect. So the third P is promotion. So define promotion for me. What is promotion? How do you define promotion?
To advertise.
To advertise, right? To get the message out. What types of promotions are there? How can you promote your product? There are different ways. Give me one way that you could do it.
Mouth to mouth.
Yeah, mouth to mouth, which we used to call that WOM, which is word of mouth. And today, what is word of mouth called? There's another word for it, starts with a V.
Oh, yeah.
Viral, right? Viral marketing, all right? So it's really the same thing. Word of mouth used to help us get there, but viral marketing would be it. All right, so what's another way that we can promote the product?
Social media.
Through social media, right? It's the digital tools, which is phenomenal right now. And if you don't put out an ad, like pay for an ad in social media, how much does it cost to get on social media? It's free. That's the best price ever, right, for a marketer. So it's the free. So, but now if you place an ad, of course, there's a cost to that, which is better than the free model, right? Because the free model only gets you so much. And by the way, let's talk about social media for a second. When you make a post, what happens after you make a post? What's like the normal interaction with someone online?
Nice.
What is it?
Likes.
Likes, exactly right. So you get likes. And does that feel good to get likes? It does, right? It's sort of that, we're addicted to getting likes, like, likes. Okay, so if you're a business and you've got 1,000 likes, is that important to you as a business, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. What's more important than likes if you're a
Money.
business? Money. And how do you get money online? You need conversion, right? So it's great. We can high five each other if we have 1,000 likes, 1,000,000 likes, whatever it is. I'm from New York. I don't care if nobody likes me, right? So that's all right. But you get likes, but you need conversion. How do you turn those likes into conversion? You have to have that interaction. You have to have that, that consumer engagement to build it up. So likes are great, but we want conversion. That's important, right? All right. So we said social media. We said word of mouth. How else can we promote something?
With flyers.
Flyers, right? Print advertising, any type of flyers, local magazines. That's another way. And what's another way?
Commercials.
Commercials where? Commercials where?
Online, on the internet.
Online, on the internet. What else? I like the way you're thinking, right? Because you're only thinking internet and online. But what's normally in the living room when you walk into a living room? There's a big thing in the middle of the living room. What is it?
TV.
It's a TV, right? So you can advertise on TV, which you still do that today, which by the way is not that expensive. Yes, it's more expensive than social media, but you can still have an effective campaign on TV. And then before TV, what was there?
Native speakers.
Billboards.
There's billboards outside. What radio is what I'm looking for, exactly right. Before TV there was radio, you could still advertise on radio. And then we have billboards too. That's what we call out-of-home advertising, right? The billboards, the park benches, when we see on the streets, the signs at the bus stop, things like that. That's all out-of-home advertising. When you go shopping, you might see an ad on a shopping cart. You could do all of that. So promotion is there's a lot of ways that you can promote the company and pay for the ads, or if you do it through social media, you can post generally or post on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, basically for free. There's another component of promotion, and that's called public relations, right?
How come?
Public relations. So public relations is another way to get the word out. So you can actually get the word out through public relations. And how much does that cost if you do public relations?
Nothing.
Really, that could be free too, right? If you set up a press conference, you do a press release. There are costs to publishing your press release, but generally speaking, you can get publicity for free. If it makes sense to the local news channel, because they're looking for content right now. All the local news channels are looking for content. So if you can create a message and you can tell your story, you might be able to get PR for free, and that goes a long way too, right? That goes a long way too. All right, so in promotion, we have a bunch of vehicles when we do promotion, and what's important when it comes to promotion, we have to create a budget, because we have to know when to spend something, right? And we also need to create a calendar, because we also need to know when we need to spend something. So let's say you pick 5. Let's do it easy. Let's say you pick 3. Let's say you pick Facebook, YouTube, and you do radio. If you pick those 3 to promote something, you have to create a calendar of when you're promoting things. So maybe all January you do all 3, but then perhaps in February you only do 2 for whatever reason. And then maybe in March you might do all 3 again. So you stagger the marketing so that you can maximize your budget, because you cannot afford to do everything every single month. And then you also have to look at seasonality too, right? In the summer months, it's a little slower. So if your business is slow, maybe you have to be a little more creative to create an ad or a campaign, word of mouth, viral, to keep your business up. And then in the end of the year, what happens the end of the year? What comes from, when we're talking about a calendar, what comes at the end of the year? November and December, what happens?
That's the time?
Yeah, right, you have the holidays, okay? And do you spend more during the holidays?
Yes.
Yes, everybody does. A lot of companies are successful during the holidays. In fact, that's why, that term Black Friday came about in some regards. People believe that Black Friday is when a company really turns profitable because everybody spends money. And we'll talk about Cyber Monday and then what we call the Cyber 5 over the next couple of weeks when we get there. So you have to plan out your promotions. You have to pick your promotions, then plan your calendar, and then put a budget into the calendar. So if we're doing a marketing strategy, when we talk about a marketing strategy, you should really come up with, let's say, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, right? And then put in a dollar amount for each quarter. That's basically what you need to do. So we know what you're promoting, we know how you're spending your money. Make sense? All right, so how do you get the budget? How do you determine what your budget is for your marketing? Who wants to tell me?
Depends on your income.
Your revenue, right? Depends on your revenue. Income is a personal situation, revenue is a company situation. All right, so it depends on your revenue. So you could take a percentage of your revenue and dedicate it to marketing. Now, if you're a new business, if you're a startup business, where is that revenue? Does it exist?
No.
No, it doesn't. So you have to make an investment in the marketing. It has to come out of pocket. So I like to tell new businesses, you have to spend some money on marketing. And what happens is that you spend so much money as a new business. Let's say you buy a new facility or you open up a new facility, you get incredible furniture, you might do a lot of things to make the building look good, you buy inventory if you're selling goods, and then perhaps you put a sign up, but you do no marketing. You use all your money up and you have no money for marketing. And that's why new businesses have a hard time succeeding, because they don't make an investment in marketing. You need to have some money in marketing when you start up a business. And even when you have an existing business, you have to come back and spend some money on marketing. So that's what promotion is. Okay. And what's the last P?
Price.
Price. Exactly right. The last P is price. So if this is the promotion dial, I'm going to make the price dial a little bigger. And the reason why I want to make the price dial a little bigger is because, in my opinion, that's the most important P when you can affect the marketing strategy. Why? When you lower the price, what happens?
It affects the other dials.
Yeah, it affects all the other dials, right? It affects your strategy, it affects your warehouse. If you sell more, if you lower your price, most likely you'll sell more of something, right? Or maybe you'll have, if you're a dry cleaner, more people will come in and bring their dry cleaning. If you sell widgets or bottled water, you'll sell more widgets and bottled water, right? Come on in. Yeah, come on in, have a seat. So that's important to know. Now, what happens if you increase price? Yeah, you'll affect the business the other way. You'll sell less. And if you decrease price dramatically and you sell a lot less, what happens to your business? Your business suffers, right? So if you have employees, you have to lay off employees. If you have a big, beautiful building, you might have to move to a smaller building. So a lot of that is part of the process of strategy. That's why I think price is the last thing that you can do. And when we talk about price, there are 3 C's. You guys remember the 3 C's when we talked about price?
Yeah.
What are they?
They're cost to make,
Cost of goods sold, right?
consumer, and competition.
The competition and then the consumer, exactly right. So that's the 3 C's of pricing. You have to know what your cost of goods sold are. Otherwise, you can't put a price on it. Because at the end of the day, what's the goal of our business? To make money, to be profitable. And in order to be profitable, we have to put a markup on our cost of goods sold, right? And there's a revenue formula that we should look at. Then we have to understand the competition. Why? Let's go back to positioning for a second. Let's say you come up with a bottled water, and this bottled water is great. It's Professor Ken's bottled water. When you drink it, it makes you the smartest marketing student in my class. All right? So you want the bottled water, but the bottled water I sell is $5. Why is it $5? Because it's different and it has a benefit to you if you drink the water. However, there's other water out there, right? There's other water out there. So maybe there's a different water out there. It might not make you the smartest student in the marketing class, but that's not important to you because you're already smart enough. So maybe you just buy a regular water and you pay $1 for it. But I positioned my product to be a high quality, high price product, and my price is $5, but the competition, all the competition is below. Let's say there's another professor, his name is Professor Joe, and he has a bottle of water that makes you as smart in his marketing class too. So now I'm higher priced than him, so the competition is dictating that I'm higher priced than him, which is okay. I can maintain that position, but I have to continue to add value. So the consumer, when they buy it, says, you know what, Professor Ken's water is $2 more than Professor Joe's water, but I know that I'm going to get more value from Professor Ken's water. So I don't mind paying $2. Consumers don't mind paying extra if they see the value in it. And that's important. You have to show the value in your pricing strategy, right? That's key. So when you look at the 4 Ps, are they independent of each other or do they sort of work together? Do they work together, the 4 Ps?
Yes.
They all affect each other, right? They all affect each other. So even though I believe that the price is the most important dial, you can move the product by changing the product, by changing the offering, by even changing the perception in some cases. That's repositioning the product or rebranding it. Now, that's difficult to do, but you can do that. Or you can change the place. Let's say originally you started selling to retail, but now you want to move from retail to consumer, or perhaps you want to add direct to consumer to the mix. You could do that too. And then promotion. Let's say all you did was magazine ads, but now you're getting better at social media and digital marketing because you took Professor Ken's class. So now you're going to start advertising not only in the magazine, but also in digital marketing. So you can always add stuff to the 4 Ps. You can always change it. And then of course you could change price too. When we talk about price, I like to try to determine the market price, and then if I wanted to lower the price, I can discount it and create events to help sell more product, right? Promote it. I can promote it. So promotion, don't get those 2 words mixed up. There is promotion and price. It's more or less a promoted price. Like how many people in here like sale, right? Who buys things on sale all the time? Discounts, things like that, right? So if a product is regularly $9.99 and then they say it's $4.99, 50% off, or now we use BOGO, right? Buy one, get one free or something like that. Of course, count me in because I want to save money. So you could promote that price down. This way you never lose the price integrity. So every day you're $9.99, but when you put it on sale, it's $4.99. So you can maintain your price integrity, which is very important. Why? Because if a consumer buys something today at $9.99 at regular price, and 3 months later it's $4.99 at regular price, what happens in the consumer's mind?
Oh, they selling a product expensive and now see how cheap it is.
And now it's cheaper, right? And then don't you feel like, as a consumer, don't you feel like, hey, wait a second, what's going on here? I feel a little, ripped off in some cases, right? Because just a couple months ago I paid $9.99 for it, and now the price is $4.99. You could feel that way, or you could feel the opposite way. Oh my God, I can't believe that this is now $4.99, so I'll buy 2 instead of 1. So that could work the opposite way too, but in most cases, lowering the everyday price to a lower price affects your sales. Just like if you raise the price every day, it affects your sale. That's that price dial. There are ways to raise the price which we'll talk about, but you have to be careful. That's a little more delicate. So what I like to do is say it's $9.99 every day, then come back and discount it. Maybe one time I do a 30% off, maybe another time I do a buy one, get one free if it's a product, maybe another time I just do a coupon, right? A digital coupon that says you buy one, you get $1 off, and that helps generate more sales. We call that lift in the industry. Lift, where you're lifting higher than what you sold yesterday because you're generating more business, right? Does that make sense? So that's the pricing piece. So the 4 Ps really work together on a regular basis. In product 2, there's something called packaging. Packaging has a big effect on the product as well. Some people think packaging is a P. Technically, it falls on the product, but it is part of the, delivering the product. Packaging is important too because packaging does a few things. Number one, it helps sell the product, right? If it's a good packaging, it sells the product. How many people in here buy an Apple product, right? If you buy an Apple product and you get there an iPhone or a computer, what do you think of the packaging? The box it comes in.
Nice.
It's really nice, right? It's clean. They spend a lot of time and make an investment to present their product that way, right? So that's the difference between product and packaging. You can get a product of any cost, but if the packaging is nice, it helps sell the product a little more. If the packaging is not so nice, your immediate impression is what?
It's a low quality.
It's a lower quality product. It's a cheaper product,
Yes.
right? So that's the perception that you get, and perception in most cases to a consumer is reality. So packaging does sell, and there's some key elements of packaging too, because on the packaging, if you're in a supermarket and you're buying a product, do you look at the label? Sometimes, right? You look at the label, the first thing that catches your eye is the label on the shelf, if it's a new product you never bought before. And then perhaps they might have a sign where it's on sale. That would be even better. And then you pick up the product and you're looking at the label and you're trying to check it out to understand what's in the package. And so that helps sell the product. So these are the 4 Ps, right? Product, place, promotion, and price. You have to really define that in your marketing strategy. Now, I like to say if you know the who, the what, the where, the why, and the how of each of these, the product, right, the place, the promotion, and the price, you can be successful.